Here we are back again for another week of Let's Rap. I'm your host, Mark Gray. Joined today, my guest is none other than, 14 years?
14 years.
14-year NBA veteran, Drew Gooden. How you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing good, baby.
Thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to finally catch you up with you, get you on the show, man. Looking forward to this for quite a while, man. Drew Gooden. Where does the Drew Gooden story start?
Hold on. First of all, nice house, man.
Thank you,
Lovely
brother.
house, man. I feel like I'm in a Hall of Fame or something. I don't know.
Nice little sports museum?
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. And second of all, I never think I'll be doing an interview or a podcast with a Maryland fan.
We're going to get to it. How this even comes full circle to us sitting here is even crazy. When I'll tell you what I thought of you. And then when we get to that point in your life. But not in a million years, but I would have said that either. But I was scared of you. I'll say that. I was real scared of you. You had the opportunity to derail like the second biggest moment of my entire life from happening.
Yeah,
and I thought you were.
But that came the result of y'all derailing mine.
Yes,
so.
absolutely. Talk about high school, growing up in the the Bay Area, correct?
Yeah. So I was born in Oakland, California, in 1981, right before the crack epidemic hit, and it was a tough time. My father just got back from playing overseas in Finland, made a little bit of bread out there, not too much at the time. Met my mother in Finland, came back, and they got married in the hood in Oakland. So it was a different landscape, not only for my mother, but my pops being married and making a transition after basketball.
Right.
You know, so.
How tall is Pops?
Pops is 6'3", he's a 6'3" center.
Okay.
He led the league in rebounding, put it that way. So you can kind of
6'3" centers do tend to find a way to end up in Finland.
Yeah. If I had to ever like compare my pops to anybody that we know we played against, he like Reggie Evans with a jumper.
Okay. How tall is Mom?
Mom's is 5'10". Yeah, Mom's is 5'10".
Well, that's works. 5'10".
Yeah, and then you probably thinking, damn, how did you get to 6'10"? It was a lot of praying, bro.
Yeah.
A lot of praying to get this high. But that's kind of where I started. And when my mother and father kind of broke up, well, separated after the divorce, you could call it, in '87, I was 6 years old. But, you know, most families, or when parents break up, the kids go with the mom. Mm-hmm. My situation was different. I went with my pops. So I don't know if you ever seen the movie Pursuit of Happiness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a
confession.
That's a picture.
Like, that movie still makes me cry. Does it make you cry?
That I had to break down because that was me and my pops, and what's crazy is that happened in the same area, same time in the Bay Area.
Got you.
So when I watch that movie, I'm like, it brings me back memories of me and my pops struggling, trying to figure out where we're gonna live, eat, who we staying with, all of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of where my humble beginnings kind of started, and I had to kind of grow up faster, you know, and have responsibilities that I think younger kids probably didn't have to have at that time. But like I said, it was in the 80s in Oakland, and the crack epidemic was crazy. Not only was my intermediate closest family members on it, aunts, uncles, you name it, but the whole community was strung out on crack cocaine. And I grew up on welfare, food stamps before EBT came out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had welfare stamps, you know, food stamps. And living in West Oakland high rises and the Acorn projects is kind of where my memories started of just like, all right, I'm actively in the hood, living in the hood, playing with all my homeboys in the hood. And I think that's where I kind of gained my love for sports. And I was a baseball player first, football player second, hoop was kind of third. And I didn't start kind of playing hoop till probably 6th grade.
Were you always taller than everybody, or not?
I was always like this. I was one of the tall kids, but I was never the tallest one. I was always like that one mutant kid that was always like.
So you weren't the mutant kid.
I wasn't the mutant kid. I was like,
okay,
he's one of the tall kids. You know what I'm saying? And we played strikeout baseball. I was a big Oakland A's fan, baseball card collector. So baseball was my first love, and that was the easiest thing to play because it was like you couldn't just run up on a hoop court. Go to a gym, you know what I mean? So it was like you could go play baseball anywhere. You just need a stick and some rocks or a ball or whatever.
Did you collect cards heavy?
Heavy.
What was your last year?
My last year of really collecting baseball cards, I would say, was in the 9th grade. So that was 95, 96.
The last card I can remember, because I was like heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy. starting from 86, the 86 Don Rosses with the
I had all
Bo
that.
Jackson.
Top
Then
diamonds.
yeah,
You told the Bo Jackson, the black and white.
Absolutely.
I had
That
the
was
Beckett's.
91.
And I had the
That was 91.
Beckett.
And the Beckett's.
And the Beckett's.
And then I'd say 93 is when I stopped. About 93, I was over baseball. It was just boring the hell out of me. After the strike. After that.
Yeah. Now I was
Heavy Griffey.
Yeah.
Griffey, Bonds.
Man, come on, man. I was in Little League. I was 24. I was number 24 in Little League because of Griff. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to King Griffey, my neighbor now, man. What's up, man? You know, yeah.
That's crazy,
It's
right?
crazy how stuff like this.
Because I forgot he is down there. Though,
yeah. It's crazy how this stuff comes full circle, man.
Got to come back to that one. Go ahead.
But my pops raising me, and he was a big time street baller. And if I could describe Pops again, other than Reggie Evans, he also had some Kimbo slicer in him too. You feel me? Like,
nice
I used to go sit on the sideline. You could get, just imagine a white man can't jump a scene like that.
Right.
The see-through jersey, net jerseys, the gold herringbone chain.
Right.
Cats got Jerry curls and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
And it's half court 5-on-5 basketball. You know what I mean? Because it was only one court. We used to play at Park Boulevard in Oakland, off Park Boulevard, the street, and that was the hot spot where everybody played outside. And my pops used to take me, and I could just remember being on the sidelines, seeing good games, seeing street fights, seeing guns pulled out for bad calls. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And my pops is in probably 90% of these arguments. You know what I mean? So I was a little kid, like, yeah, I'm getting the opportunity to taste of basketball, but it was really unorganized hoop. You know what I'm saying? So that was my first glimpse of basketball, and then up until like 5th, 6th grade, I was big enough and could hold my own to where my pop started letting me play on his team.
And what grade?
5th, 6th grade. Yeah.
Sheesh.
5th. What was USA basketball when they went to Barcelona? It was 92.
91 Dream Team?
91 Dream Team.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was 92 because it go even. It's even. 92, 96, 2000, every 4 years.
Okay.
92. I got you back.
I don't know why I always thought it was 91 was a Dream Team.
Well, they was trying out and doing all that stuff.
You might be right. They might have been put together for the 91, for the 92 Olympics. You're right.
Exactly.
That's right, for the 92 Olympics. Got you. You're right.
And then that's when I was all like, that's when I really remember started watching basketball and knowing all the cast of characters. That was a big thing. That Dream Team was a lot of coverage on that team. And I remember I had the shirt with all the cartoons.
Oh yeah, I had that
MJ characters and all of that. The USA Sega Genesis basketball game, you know, you could play. And then I was hooping, and I was able to hold my own, my pops, and playing against grown men. And then that's when I think the love of basketball started, and I could see that I was good. Then I think 8th grade was my first time actually playing organized basketball with referees in the game.
That's crazy. 8th grade.
8th grade. So I was about 6 foot at this time, and like I said, one of the taller guys on the team, but not the tallest. And I was skilled, so I played more of a guard position. And I remember one game, you know, they put me at point guard in 8th grade, and we played against this team. We beat the team 20 to 19. It was a low scoring game, and it was in the paper. And on my stat sheet, I had 19 of the 21. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they put me at point, so I was like, well, I can shoot every time now. You know what I'm saying? So I had that newspaper clipping, and I still have it to this day. And that's one thing that stuck out to me. Is like, well, maybe I'm special in this game. Like, maybe I'm a little different in this game. So that correlated over to 9th grade now, and living with my pops. You know, he was one of those pops that he was always at home. It was never like a night that he was never at home, and that was great. And he always took me to school every day, and I always had an opportunity to get picked up at school, after school, by him as well. So it was 2 drop-offs from Big Drew.
Right.
Which, when I look back at it now, is like nobody that was around me had let alone a parent dropping him off at school, because we was all broke. But it was your dad.
Right.
Drop off and pick up. So that's how involved my pops was in my life. And I got my first report card in 9th grade, and it was A, B, C, A, F. And you like, damn, you got an F. You got all these A's and B's. We can work with the F. But what you think I got the F in?
Don't say PE. That's what you got, the F in PE?
I got an F in PE, bro. So that was like, and it wasn't. I mean, that was my favorite class. You know, out of all the other ones, that was my favorite class. So I got the F and PE, and I remember coming home and showing my pops a report card and just getting ready for basketball season because that's that first round of report cards to let you know if you're eligible to play. So pops was like, "Bro, you got an F on your report card in PE?" He's all like, "Not only are you not playing basketball this year, but if you get a C the rest of this year, you're not gonna play the following year." So I had to double full court press on me for getting good grades and getting back on course.
The reason, you know what's so funny is...
Same shit happened to you?
it's something about getting an F in gym that really sends them through the roof, bro.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, and we wouldn't listen.
And mine was for, I didn't dress we had a school uniform for PE, and I didn't do that. And it was, so I guess it's like the biggest slap in the face. And it's like, so you get an F in gym. So like, you just bozo the fool in school.
It's like that was my favorite class. Like, I was nice. Like, I passed all the push-up tests.
I definitely got.
But it was like, it was the not listening, hanging with the class clowns, and just.
Out of all the things that I've gotten in trouble for in my life, I could probably say that F in gym in 8th grade was like probably one of the biggest.
You see what I'm saying?
I think it just rings like you're in school acting a fool.
Acting a fool, exactly.
You know
or who you hanging around with. Yeah, exactly. So then Pops was like, and it was all my other friends that got F's and bad grades. They was at tryouts, and I wasn't. I'm like, damn, my GPA still higher than theirs with the F and P. But Pops wasn't having it, man, and that really shook my whole world because that's when I finally found out I love basketball. I had a passion for it because that shit hurt me, bro. Like, it really was devastating, and I was able to. What even hurt me more is I was able to practice with the team that whole year, killing in practice. But when the games came up, I had to watch on the sideline. When they had to go travel to go play the rival school, I couldn't ride on the bus. Like, I had to go meet them over there and watch the games, pay for a ticket and shit to go watch the game with my own team. So that really hurt me. But it also got me focused on what was bigger than the basketball at the time was my grades, which Pops said, without the grades, you can't play anyway. Mm-hmm. And then if I ever get a chance, an opportunity to play this game, once I do step on the court,
you're never gonna let it take it away from you again.
Never gonna let it take it away from me again, and I'm going hard. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as I got that opportunity, it was my first game back. I was able to play because my grades got better. Well, they was already good besides the F, but my grades was good enough to have me eligible the second half of the season. I got to play the last 2 games of my 9th grade year, but I had to play on freshmen, and nobody dunked the whole year, and that's what everybody was talking about. Who gonna bop? And sure enough, it was the second half of that game. I had the 11s on, packed leather J's. My first pair of J's. I bought them with some child support money. Look, look. And, you know, the flip side of that, moms was paying child support. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I had them J's. I'll never forget. It was $123 plus a little bit of tax. I'll never forget. And those were my hoop shoes and school shoes. And I took flight in the motherfuckers and got my first dunk in the game.
How tall?
I was about 6'4", 6'3" at the time. So I'm growing. Like, I'm growing from 8th grade being 6 foot to now 9th grade I'm 6'3".
Crowd going crazy.
Went crazy. Ham. I got it on tape. It's on VHS. You know what I'm saying? So it's an archive of mine. And then that's when I started knowing, hey, I'm different.
Right.
I'm a little different. So I had an opportunity the following year. Now, what helped a lot for grades, we went to block scheduling. We only had 3 classes. So now I'm coming out of like 3.75s, you know, honor roll, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Absolutely.
2 A's and a B, I'm cracking, you know what I'm saying? So now I got my grades together. I got the confidence level. Didn't play AAU after that season because Pops was still hot about the grades. He said, no, I said the whole year. He kept playing with me like that, you know what I mean? So by the time it got the tryouts that following year, I made varsity. I didn't start. I was coming off the bench, but I was on the bus. Right. You feel me? And I think that's kind of where everything started taking off.
So then what was it? Sophomore? So junior year? Is that your first year start?
Between sophomore and junior year, I grew 5 inches.
That'll do it.
You heard me? And I was down in Arkansas visiting my mom because she ended up moving to Arkansas. Okay. And I visited her in the summertime. This is a good story. Now, a lot of people don't know about this. This is when the Arkansas Razorbacks were winning the back-to-back championships, going to the Final Four.
What was his name?
Nolan Richardson.
No, yeah. Now I was talking about
Tank Robinson, Scotty Thurman.
Scotty Thurman with the rainbow.
Pat
big
Bradley.
man. Who was the Corliss Williamson?
Corliss Williamson.
Right.
Tank Robinson, who was from Oakland, that went to Arkansas, was a McDonald's All-American. So he was like the big name in the town that went to Arkansas. So it was a lot of good things happening in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So my mom lived in the suburbs outside of Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I used to visit her in the summertime. So I went to go visit her, and I said, "Mom's like, I'm tired of playing golf. I'm tired of fishing. Like, I'm going to go hoop. Like, I want to go see somebody. So see the hoop." And then she said, one of my golfing friends, they know Coach, it was Brad Miller. I don't know, was it Brad Miller? I feel bad right now. It was one of the assistant coaches for Arkansas, and he set it up to where I could go watch the Razorbacks play pickup. And I went, my mom drops me off to just watch the Razorbacks play summertime pickup ball with their new recruits, walk-ons, they start in 5. And I was just supposed to watch on the sideline, get some shots up, you know how that go. When I walked in the gym, it looked like they were short, like they needed more bodies. And I guess I passed the look test because I was about 6'5" at the time. You know, this is my 10th grade summer going into my 11th grade. I was about like 6'5" at the time. And I played, bro, and I held my own. And I can't remember what I did or if I was really balling, but all I know is all I know is they said Nolan Richardson wants to holler at you. No, he was out of sight because at that time you can't
do that. Right.
You cannot watch your team practice or oversee the practice. So I had to go to his office in a suite, elevator ride up, went to his office, and the first thing he said, "What's your name, son?" I told him my name. "Where are you from?" I was like, "I'm from Oakland, California." At this time I was living in Richmond, California, which is worse than Oakland.
Right.
So told him I live in Richmond, I go to El Cerrito High School, and he said, "Well, I'm having a basketball camp this next week, and I want you to attend." And I told him straight up, "Listen, I ain't got no money for that. I'm flying out like in a couple of days to go back to California. We're gonna have to change all of that stuff. Like, there's a lot of moving parts."
Right.
And then Nolan Richardson said basically, here's my card. Have your mom call me, and then we'll try to figure out if we could rearrange some stuff for you to come to the camp. I said, "Bet." So when moms came to pick me up, she's like, "How was it watching them play?" I was like, "I actually got to play with them, Mom." She's like, "What? You played with them?" She slammed on the brakes because you got to remember the Arkansas Razorbacks are like, they like rock stars at this time.
Yeah, they were national champions. 94,
yeah,
95, right?
Yeah. So this is right after all of that.
Yeah.
And I said, "This is Nolan Richardson's card. He wants you to call him." He's like, "What?" So they got in
Arkansas. That's God down there.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So this is like, I've seen him on TV. Like, this is my man from He Got Game. All of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not He Got Game. Blue Chips at the time was Blue Chips. And I stayed that following week. Went to the camp. Got MVP of the camp.
Okay.
Then I had another conversation upstairs, and it was, "We want you to be a Razorback." So I got offered on the spot. That was my first school.
And you didn't like this.
No letters.
Yeah, but you didn't even know this was a possibility. Like, college basketball wasn't even on your radar. Nothing.
Just me just being me
on
the sideline. Got it. Talked my way up into a hoop game, and now I'm talked my way into a scholarship. You know what I'm saying? I actually played my way into a scholarship because I remember they brought a McDonald's All-American guy that was local there, and I just gave him work at like 15. Like, you know what I'm saying? 14 years old. And
when he's saying all this, what are you thinking? Like, I want him here, or?
I told him, basically, like, he said, "Do you want to be an Arkansas? Do you want to be a Razorback?" And I told him, "Yeah."
Absolutely.
I was like, I committed right on the spot. I committed. So a lot of people don't know that I committed to Nolan Richardson and told him I'm coming to Arkansas. So when I went back home, I went from not starting that year. Remember, I didn't start my sophomore year, to nobody on my team getting letters, to me coming back with a scholarly to the hottest schools like so Villanova at the time. Yeah, it was like a Villanova type of school, or like a North Carolina at the time.
Absolutely.
Like a school that's winning chips. You know, so that is what kind of started my name and getting around before I went to ABCD camp and with likes of DJ, DeMar Johnson, and
killed your junior season then?
Killed my junior year, ate it up, and then my last 5 offers were Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, UCLA, and UConn.
That's like with not excluding Maryland, those are like the best schools in all the basketball.
Yeah. But you know what? Maryland recruited me too.
Really? Oh, yeah, in Cali?
Yep. It was I forgot his name. It was tall brother.
Not Billy Hunt. Oh, you said black guy.
Yeah.
On Gary's staff?
Yes.
I don't know what that would.
Yeah. Stores? No.
Nah, I don't know that one.
Something Stores?
No. Nah, I don't. It might have been. I'm just saying.
Stores. Yeah. He was the head coach. I mean, he was one of the assistant coaches at the time. But Gary Williams recruited me to go to Maryland as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And
how you end up in Kansas?
Man, I went on an unofficial recruiting trip.
What did you know about Kansas? Absolutely nothing, right?
Paul Pierce and Rafe LaFrance at the time.
I remember Rafe LaFrance.
And I really didn't watch them before that. I really didn't know too much about what Danny Manning did. I wasn't really watching basketball at that time in '89. But they were a hot team. They were like one of the top teams at that time. And I went on my unofficial at 16, and I got a chance to play against all the pros. Paul Pierce was just drafted. Rafe LaFrance was just drafted. So I had an opportunity now at 16 to play against guys that were in the NBA. And once again, on my unofficial trip, I dominated the whole pickup. I remember literally me and Paul Pierce going at it. He hit a jumper, I hit a jumper. I'm like, this Pete Pierce, up for Rookie of the Year, like the third pick. Excuse me, the 10th pick. Rafe LaFrance was the second pick. And that's when I kind of knew, like, all right, I think I got a chance. I got a chance. And this is after ABCD camp, so I'm hot. I'm hotter than fish grease right now. Like, I'm just in a zone. And unofficial turned into my first official about a month, 2 months later. And I was like, I ain't got to take no more trips, man. This is my second trip at Kansas. I got Duke lined up next.
You never made it to Duke?
Never made it to any other school. And then
oh, really?
I was like, I need to take advantage right now before Nick Collison commits. Before we found out Lester Earl is eligible. You know, I wanted to go to the school.
Right.
Roy Williams did a great job not only recruiting myself, but my family as well. And
then when you got there, rookie year, freshman year wasn't going quite the way you expected?
Not at all, because the conversations we had with Roy Williams, with me and my pops, was basically, listen, he gonna have to earn everything, every minute, and it's gonna be with his stats and his input, his classwork, everything, like character, everything. He's gonna have to earn it. So that was my main goal. I knew I wasn't going there to start, but then I was gonna have to work my way up. It took me about a week on campus playing pickup with guys, and then about a week into the first week of training camp for college basketball to know that I was probably the best guy on that team as a freshman.
And then you weren't
potentially. And I started coming off the bench, but my averages off the bench, I was the second leading scorer on the team and the leading rebounder, playing 19 minutes a game as a freshman. So about halfway through my freshman year, I'm telling my pops, yo, I'm transferring.
Right.
Like, I'm going to transfer. I'm going to go to Oregon State. I'm going to go average 30. I'm entering the draft. I'm out of here. And pops are like, nah. Give me Roy Williams' number. I'm going to holler at him. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, no, pops, you cannot do this shit, this Oakland shit you be doing. Like, you cannot cuss this coach out. I know how you like to cuss all the coaches out and cuss everyone. Do not do this to Roy Williams. He's like, oh, no, I'm going to keep it real professional. Just give me his number. So it's like halfway through the season, and I'm killing, man. I'm coming. I got, first of all, the first tournament of the season was the Alaskan Shootout. I came off the bench and got MVP of the tournament as a freshman. Like, hey, now look that up. Like, I was like, if you think about it, like, yeah, like, what's going on?
Right.
I was getting better too quick for him, for how he was trying to develop me. Roy Williams, I was acing every test he put in front of me to where it's like, what's left? And it got to a point.
The sit test? He's like, that's what's left is the sit test? Because Gary's the same way. Bro, that was Gary's the same. Gary did the same thing with Wilcox.
Yeah. So I went to Roy and I was like, let me holler at you for a minute, for a moment. And he was like, what's up? I was like, Coach, I'm transferring. And Roy Williams got down on his knees, bro, fucking crying, and says, don't give up on me. Trust me, Drew, do not give up on me right now. And at the time, my only response was, I already have. I told him, I already gave up on you, bro. Like, you promised me that this, that to work. and I held my end of the bargain. Now I'm looking at you like, are you gonna hold your end of the bargain of rewarding me for this? And after that conversation, and I told him I already gave up on you. We kind of walked separate ways. I started the next game. So now with that being said, I was like, man, don't start me now after we had that conversation. But I also had
in your head, what was the thought process for when you was like you said I'm a transfer? So you started the next game. Were you thinking like I'm gonna finish the season and then transfer, or?
No, I was gone. I'm just gonna play in Oregon State next year, average 30, and I'm out.
Okay. So then he starts you the next game, or you like you still thinking I'm transferring, or?
No, he started me and I had 25 and 16.
So now you're like I'm here. Definitely not sitting out a year.
You see where I'm at? And to fast forward the rest of my career there, we could talk in depth of that, but in that same area where he got on his knees and cried to me is the same area he brought me to and told me, son, you're going to be the first player I've coached to get his jersey retired in his hands, you know? So it was funny in that same area, we had two conversations. One, I'm not happy, I'm transferring. Fast forward to my junior year, Drew, you going up in these Raptors. So it's funny how that came full circle.
And the rest of you and Roy's relationship?
Great. Ever since then, I mean, great, because I think he knew, like, I kind of broke that threshold. I was one of the first players to kind of break that system. And, you know, to credit, he had seniors and juniors that were starting that projected top 5 picks. Eric Chenoweth, Lester Earl, Luke Axtell, Nick Collison came in with me as a freshman along with Kurt Heinrich. So we had some killers, you know what I mean? But I was the killer at a young age on that squad, and everybody on my team, you can ask me to this day, since I stepped foot on campus, I was that guy.
Did you want to leave after your sophomore year?
Yes, I did, and I looked at the projections, the NBADraft.net, which was out then, and what I was hearing from agents that would call on my dorm like nonstop, that I was a top 8, top 7 pick. And that was before workouts. I knew if I was able to get in the individual workout, I could show them more than what I was doing in Kansas. Showing I could shoot, showing I had a little handle, that I could pass, you know what I mean? Because basically, if you watch my games at Kansas, I would just run the floor, dunk, jump hook, offensive rebound, put back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like just no kind of like looking like I had skill. You know what I mean?
right.
So I got with Roy Williams in the office. He pulled me in my sophomore year. And I said, hey, I'm hearing this. Coach, what are you hearing? And he basically said, I talked to Mitch Kupchak. Whether this is true or not, you know, because now that I'm older, I know how coaches try to keep players longer. So I talked to Mitch Kupchak, and you can be a late lottery at best, late first rounder at worst. And I'm thinking when he told me, I was like, well, damn, they got me 7 on the board, like, and that's before a workout. And this is you playing me a certain way, like I could play differently. But one thing he told me, he's like, but I promise you, if you come back for one more year, he told me straight up, you have an opportunity to be the number one pick.
Right.
And he grabbed a basketball, and he handed it to me. He said, and this is gonna be your team next year. Then I was all like, I gotta think about this. You know what I'm saying? I gotta think about this, because I knew if I came back, how dominant I would have been compared to everybody else was leaving. Now you got to remember, I came in with all the guys that were in '99 class. DeMar Johnson left after our freshman year.
Yeah.
DJ left after our freshman year. Donnell Harvey, all these guys were leaving after their freshman year. Jamal Crawford after their freshman year.
Right.
So now you telling me they already in the league 2 years before I get a chance to even enter my name in the draft. So I'm thinking I'm getting a little Jonathan Bender, who I busted his ass at ABCD camp, and that was kind of like my measuring stick.
He went straight.
He went top. He was the 5th pick out of high school.
Right.
And I just gave him fucking work.
Right.
At ABCD camp, to where I was all like, I got a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So my 3rd year, I come back, and it was all she wrote, man. It's kind of like a grown man playing against kids that whole season for me and Nick. Nick was ready too. I mean, even though he stayed 4, me, Nick, and Kurt Heinrich, we were ready. We were already pros. But I'm glad I did come back for my junior year, because then I became a household name. Had an opportunity to go to the Final Four. We get to that later. And then growing and developing and getting that extra year of maturity, I think helped me transition a lot easier in my rookie season.
That's yeah. I remember. You scared me. You literally. As I remember us going through that run, we made it through the skin of our teeth through UConn and Karan. Karan had like 36.
And that elite,
Lonnie had
game.
like 32 or something.
elite
and
elite
Karan had
game.
like 36.
I remember.
And then coming in, it was you. So I was like, Karan, I said Drew was better than Karan. And Karan just gave us 36.
Yeah.
And it's just for the fact that Lonnie had like 32 or something ridiculous himself. And then but Heinrich's ankle.
Yeah.
I remember it was Heinrich's ankle was the thing, and it was like, were you guys gonna be at full speed?
His ankle, a lot of people don't know I had a torn patella.
I didn't know it was that bad. I knew it was bad because I remember it was whether it was.
I had a torn patella.
Oh, you had one.
I had
Okay,
a torn
I didn't know that.
A lot of
I
people
remember
didn't know. Yeah.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know. I didn't know.
Okay.
I just thought I had tendonitis.
Got you.